Hey, y'all, welcome to Transition Tuesday. I'm Lilith Elektra. That's Amanda Bonanza. We are in Detroit. It's 1 billion degrees, but we're still here to answer your questions about transition. And hey, you know, we get these in support groups and stuff online where people asking for everyone's input, but we also will take one-on-one questions. You want to email if you want to, in one of the videos, one of our videos, our old videos, you want to put a question in the comments. If you want to send us one, if you're in the chat, you know, we won't answer it today because we've already got one.
Well, maybe we will.
Unless it's like really good.
I'm not going to say no to that.
We'll just be like, yeah, screw this question.
I say yes to that. I say if we get a good question in the chat, we should absolutely take it.
You say yes to that because you always just like disagree with me.
That is not true.
It's kind of true. It's kind of true.
I just did just that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I completely agree with you.
So here's the question, and I think this is an important question just because
I'm Amanda Bonanza. That's what
oh my God, I cannot believe you did that.
That's what we needed in there. And then we got to arguing about how we argue.
This question is important. See, I gave you like a great waste, like there's a great edit point right there. We kept it quiet, and then I came back.
I'm going to take advantage of that.
And so this question, I think, is important because I think it revolves around a lot of stuff happening in the world today, especially with people trying to ban trans healthcare and that stuff. And then basically the question is, can cisgender people have gender dysphoria?
Well, yes, of course they do.
I mean, absolutely.
Let's first talk about like what that would look like.
It looks like Ron DeSantis' shoes is what it looks like.
Sure does. It looks like a lot of things. If there's a cis woman and she gets like her hair cut, her hairdresser does a bad job and it cuts it like too short, and she thinks she looks like boyish and she'll get really upset. That's just gender dysphoria. Men who are short oftentimes just are dysphoric about being short. Anything where like they don't feel like they meet up to the standards of, you know, masculinity or femininity respectively. Conversely, if you see like gender euphoria, you'll see it where like if a man is in a really well-fitted good-looking suit and how well he feels and how proud he is, or a woman gets a facial and just gets done with all the things and she feels like she looks terrific. All of that is gender euphoria too. And I would postulate that like in the least, like cisgender dysphoria is as severe as transgender dysphoria, and maybe even worse. When you're trans and you're in the closet, and like even when you're out, you grew up with dysphoria, like you've had it your whole life and you learn to cope with it to various degrees. And I think cisgender people they just don't have the practice with it, or they don't recognize it for what it is. And so I think when they get it, it's arguably way more severe.
I feel like it's a thing that gets glossed over because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're transgender. It could be that you feel this incongruency with what you expect to be or what you think you are or how you feel.
Or even just what you want.
What you want, yeah. I think this is an important conversation to have with cis people. Because I think it does kind of open that door about having those conversations. You see Donnie Trump and Ron DeSantis in their weird shoes that make them stand like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to make fun of them for that, but it is also like you clearly have, you know, issues with that. The world would be a better place if we could all just talk about how we feel about ourselves and live our lives honestly and openly. But you know, certain factions of people don't want the world to be like that.
Emily mentioned in the chat another good example of gender dysphoria would be with like women, cis or trans, that get breast augmentation surgery. The source is gender dysphoria for sure. Plenty of cis women get boob jobs, like they really do.
Plenty of cis teenagers get boob jobs and no one seems to have a problem with it.
Yeah, no one has a problem with that. But like, but if you're trans, you need your necessary surgeries, then you got to get letters. You got to get letters from strangers and get their approval.
I had to get 2 letters to get mine. I had to get a letter from my therapist, and I had to get a letter from my doctor. And it was very strange. Some of the places wouldn't even see you until you got the letters first.
It's preposterous. The hoops we have to jump to.
I'm like 53 years old. Just let me do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's real dumb. It's better than it used to be, and it is getting better every day. And despite all this backlash in places like Florida and Texas and all the red states, it's like part of the reason that there's the backlash is because it is getting so much better rapidly, and all the haters and the conservatives that don't like change are freaking out because everything's new for them and they don't like anything new. I mean, that's the nature of conservatism, is I don't want the world to change at all. I think time should go backwards.
Back in my day, we'd kill a triceratops with our bare hands, and now you got these assholes out here with clubs.
Why don't we go back to the good old days where people farmed everything and they didn't have to buy grocery stores? You see all the people at the store buying goods with money. Why can't we just barter for wagon tongues?
Oh, I know why, because Monsanto owns all of Nebraska.
Yeah,
that's why you can't do that.
But they love that for some reason. They love that kind of change.
What if just like 2 corporations owned every piece of land you could grow food on in the entire country? Like, yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, enough of this stuff. We're talking about dysphoria.
Oh, you're going to come at me for getting us off topic?
No, I'm just
all the times you've dragged us off topic.
Yeah, you're right.
Part of this is also like, ties back to like, am I trans? Am I trans, or am I just a cis person with gender dysphoria? And I think
it's a valid question.
It is a valid question. And I think one thing, if you are struggling with this, I can't recommend enough seeing a therapist.
Therapist really is so healthy.
Who works with trans people, or even going to a trans support group. I always know when I try to give, like when people talk to me about these kinds of things, like I always come from, and this is the position. This is your decision. You're not going to come and talk to me about it. I'm not going to try to talk you into being trans. I want you to like just be honest about where you are and what you feel. And like, it might be just some gender dysphoria. You might not be trans, or it might be, but you really should find like a professional person to have those conversations with. And I did that, and it helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Getting to where I am now, which is, sweaty, but still fabulous. But
we are very sweaty now.
But, yeah.
Let's take a moment. I think a lot of transphobic and homophobic people tend to have this idea that trans people and gay people are making their kids gay. I've never met a trans or a gay person that was like, I really want them to be gay. It's like, that's never it. What it is if someone is trans or gay, we want to help them not have to go through the hardships that we went through. And I think that's the difference there.
I don't do that because I don't want to be seen as a groomer or anything like that. I do that because I spent a lot of my life doing what other people told me, and it was always wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to tell anyone what to do. People have trouble being honest with themselves.
Oh, it's a real hard thing to do.
It's a really hard thing to do.
Courage.
Like, if you feel like you're trans, it might be easier just to say, well, I'm cis, with like a little dysphoria around that, as opposed to, facing the work that goes into being trans and like, the problems that come with that.
There's so much baggage, and you see what it is, and it looks scary from that perspective.
I can answer questions about my journey, and I can talk about my experience, but at the end of the day, you have to make those decisions for yourself.
I saw a post that my friend Katie did about even figuring out that you're trans, why it takes some people a long time to even figure this out. I thought it was really poignant. One of the reasons that it takes trans people so long to figure out that they're trans is because the narrative that you get is that all trans people know that they're trans completely, and that if you aren't sure, then you have to explore every other avenue to make sure that it's not anything else first. That resonated a lot with me because like I did always know that I was trans, like since I was a little kid, but I was never 100% sure of it. Like in part one, because the language just wasn't there when I was a kid. It wasn't in the zeitgeist at all. Like it just wasn't visible in any way whatsoever. And so like I knew I would have rather have been born a girl and that I wanted to be a girl, but I didn't think there was anything I could do about it. And then growing up, when I did like look into like people that were transgender and like had gotten surgeries and the first transgender women and like Christine Jorgensen and like Wendy Carlos and all that stuff, the narrative always was like yeah, I knew, and I always felt like I was a man trapped in a woman's body, and that's like I never felt exactly like that. That's not what it was for me. I didn't feel like I was trapped in the wrong body. I felt like I wanted to be a better one.
I'm in the right body. I'm trapped in the wrong country.
Emily says the same thing. Totally. My feelings never changed. It was just understanding of what it meant to be trans, which is a big, huge part of it for me. On top of the fact that it was scary back then. We're treated not great by parts of society, but like way better than even 10 years ago. And I think it's important to understand the perspective. It has changed so much in the last like 9 years, and it has gotten way better. Some places regressed a little bit and made things harsher, but the general populace isn't going to be shitty to you. It's generally the government or your boss that's shitty.
And this is the second straight week we've had someone from Florida joining us. I'm performing at the Countdown Festival in Tampa, August 8th to 11th. Come to the show.
I'm not going to be there. I'll be in California by then, just doing my California thing. But let's be real here. If any of y'all want Lilith and me to perform in your town, just let us know. We're going to set up a show. We'd love to do live stuff. So like, we'd love to take this.
No, you're taking us off course. Hold on.
I am taking us off course, and you are allowed to yell at me for that, because I didn't mean to yell at you before.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, dysphoria is a thing. Dysphoria is a thing for cis people. Dysphoria is a thing for everybody. Gender is a construct, and there's all sorts of problems when you put people in a box. People aren't the same. Everyone's different. And when you try to put people into categories and boxes with rigid boundaries, it doesn't work. And it never does. Like, there is no such thing. There's nothing in nature is binary. Everything's on a spectrum. And so the idea that you're either one thing or the other is profoundly preposterous.
I have nothing more to add.
No,
I was letting you talk. I'm letting you talk yourself out.
I did, but I thought maybe you would like this. You would like this.
I said everything. I
hog everything,
and then you always add on, and then I'm just like, okay.
I can be done adding on. I'm wondering if you have anything to say.
No, I think we answered that question perfectly, and perfectly. I'm not going to
perfectly. I think we did answer it perfectly. Actually,
perfectly.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. If you have your own question, you can email us. You can comment on any of our videos.
We are on the Transverse, so the transverse.net. I don't think you can subscribe to the website, but the website's full of good stuff, like all sorts of community support group options and things. We're on the trans section. We're on the trans section server on Discord, and that's the best place if you have questions, or if you want to be on Who's That Turkey, which is a different show that we do. But if you can DM us on there, we'll talk to you, and we'll answer any of your questions that you want. And we'd love to get questions about the trans experience. You can email us at media@thetransverse.net. We have a Patreon, which is delightful, and you get all sorts of bonus stuff like outtakes and little side things that Lilith and I do. There's a merch store at etsy.com/thetransverse, and you can get Transverse merch there, and you should do that. You should definitely buy gear. We don't have any of our merch up there yet, but like, I think we're gonna get some stuff from the Culinary Delights and Who's That Turkey and Transition Tuesday stuff up there, just like catchphrases and whatnot. It hasn't aired yet, but we've got a catchphrase coming up, and I want to get the merch out like right as it airs.
Emily says we're not on the website yet, but she'll get that up soon.
Oh, that's okay. We'll get on the website.
You don't do it until you have people who are watching the video, and then they start clamoring for us on the website.
Where are Lilith and Amanda? Where are Lilith and Amanda? I want pictures of Lilith and Amanda.
I demand pictures of Lilith and Amanda.
Where are pictures?
Jane Jonah Jameson demands those pictures. Never seen them in the same room together. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you for joining us on the stream, and like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Transition Tuesday gets released on Tuesdays at noon, and then Who's That Turkey and Culinary Delights get released every other Thursday. We switch back and forth. All right, everyone, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.